Namaste. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how to exercise your feet. Not just exercise your feet to make them tired, but also to make them feel better. So the first thing, and this is one of my class's favorite things to do, is to roll your feet. Now, you can roll your feet using a tennis ball, a golf ball, basically any type of ball that you could find. And it's just what I said. You just roll the ball on the sole of your foot, getting into the toes, letting the toes separate, getting to the heel. And if you find a little area that might be a little tight, spend a little extra time there to give it some love, as I like to say. The ball that you use is up to you. It could be soft, it could be hard. You could use your dog's toy if he'll let you have it. But anything you use, just roll. And how long do you do this? Just as long as it feels good. All right, so that's the first way you can work with your feet. So I'm going to move these to the side. The second way you can work with your feet is by exercising your toes. So I'm going to use a block right now, but of course you may use a thick dictionary. So you just place the block or dictionary between your feet, and then you just play with your toes, basically. So for example, we're going to lift the big toes, and now I'm going to move my big toes to touch the block. Lower the big toes back to the floor. Now, I'm going to lift all 10 toes. Move the big toe to the block, spread the toes, place them down. Next, I'm just going to lift the 4 small toes on each foot. Well, let's say yours don't do that. You can hold the big toes down and lift the toes, and then place the toes back down. All right? So you just experiment with things like that, and you repeat it. Picking up the big toe, moving it to the block, placing it down. Picking up the 4 small toes, spread them wide, place them down. Anything that you can work with on your feet that's going to strengthen the sole of your foot. All right, now moving on. The next way you can work with your feet is to stretch the sole of the foot. Now, as you see, I have 2 dictionaries taped together. You can use whatever you happen to have. You could actually still use your yoga block. So I'm going to keep my heel on the floor and then place the toes on my books and just put some pressure on the heel. It doesn't have to be intense. I mean, this might be pretty intense for you. That's fine. You might need to step your foot in front or even beside the opposite foot. So you're just stretching the calf, stretching the sole of the foot. How long do you stay here? Well, what I would do is I would stay about a minute on each foot, letting each leg get released and stretched, and then repeat a minute again on each foot. All right, so now we've covered 3 ways to exercise your feet. The last way is something called short foot. Okay, so I'm going to use the chair for balance. We're going to do this 1 foot at a time. I'm going to show you with my left foot. So placing the weight on the left foot, lift all 5 toes. Then distribute the weight on my tripod of a foot. The base of the little toe, the base of the big toe, and the center of my heel. That's where my weight is being distributed. Then I spread the toes and place them down. At this point, I'm going to press into the tips of the 4 smaller toes, press into the tip of the big toe. Notice that the ball of the foot lifted and the arch lifted. I still have my weight on my left foot. I'm going to hold this for about 10 seconds, and then I'm going to relax it. And then we do it again. Weights on the left foot, lift the toes, spread them, place them down. Press into the tips of the 4 toes, press into the tip of the big toe. Arch lifts, hold it for about 10 seconds. All right? So you're going to do each foot 5 times, holding each lift 10 seconds. Same thing on the right foot. Weight goes onto the right foot. Lift the toes, spread them, place them down. Press the tips of the little toes into the floor, the big toe into the floor. The arch lifts. You can feel the engagement of the sole of your foot. And then we're going to spread the toes and place them down. All right. That ends our 4 postures. Thank you for joining me today. Again, namaste.